Guys, we recently had an experience that we needed to bug out. Now, this was not SHTF, this was not the end of the world, but what life throws at you at times, you need to be prepared. And I really want to call this Bug Out Lite. We were going down to the beach for a week and we left Sunday night. We knew that there was a storm coming and we knew a hurricane was coming toward the coast. And Isaias, or however you say that, it was heading right towards South Carolina. But they were kind of talking about tropical storm. It was a Category 1 hurricane, and a lot of times their forecasts are, off and not being able to track it. Sometimes it changes directions. We had already paid for the week. We had about 18 people going. A lot of people had gotten off work, so we were going down regardless. So we get down on Sunday night and the storm starts to look like it's heading toward exactly where we are, so where it's going to hit landfall. And so we kind of start talking about it and we decide that we're going to go just outside of the area. One of my sister-in-laws was really concerned and kind of getting very panicky. She has 3 small girls, and then we had others that had small children. And we just decided that it's better to be early and wrong than late and right. And sometimes you need to err a little bit on the side of caution. This storm is coming. I mean, it can cause damage. It was a Category 1, so it wasn't the end of the world, but definitely trees can fall, and the place that we were staying, could be vulnerable to flooding and a lot of other things. With that being said, we found a place about an hour out. We barely got a room because a lot of people were thinking, I think, the same thing we were. But we had a big concrete structure, and so I felt fairly safe. I mean, there's still tornadoes and things that spawn off these hurricanes, and so we were just wanting to be safe rather than sorry. And so we packed up Monday morning and we took off. The storm was going to hit that afternoon, and so we felt like this is the best thing to do. So we decided to make a plan. Now, here is the thing about the plan, and this is the important part. Of course, your normal activities, we were going to just leave for the evening and come back the next day because the storm was going to pass. And so you wanted to have a change of clothes, you wanted to have your toiletries, and you just wanted to carry those things that you would just use on a standard everyday day trip. Problem is, a lot of times at the beach, I'm wearing shorts, t-shirt, and flip-flops, and that's what I had planned on wearing. So the first thing I started thinking is what if there are some problems? What if the storm causes some power outages, trees down, again, tornadoes, things like that. And so making sure, number one, that I had a good pair of shoes, a sturdy pair of shoes, which I always carry with me. Because when you're traveling, you never know what you're going to face. And if you're running out in gym shorts and a pair of flip-flops, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble if things go south. And so made sure that I had some gloves and had my regular, just a little bit more of an upgrade set of clothes, just in case. So we decided we're going to pack up. So first off, I started looking and I thought, what are things that are valuable? What are things that if this storm hits and our place is damaged, I mean really damaged, and we have possible looters that come through, what do I have here that's valuable that I don't want to leave behind? So I definitely have my go bag, my get home bag. I threw it in the car, and that's just really a great thing to have anyway. And then, of course, my weapons bag, my travel bag. I have a bag I always carry with me just in case things get really crazy. And then some other items. I had a video camera, some other things. So went ahead and just packed those away and decided to take them with me. We had food, we had the week's worth of clothes down there. We had a lot of things that we just left. But just the things to get us through the night, but making sure that I had contingency plans in case things really went south. And actually we went north, we were south. So, but we took those things, I planned it out, made sure that I had the things that I needed. Also, battery backups. You want to have that in case we have any kind of power outages. You want to make sure you have a good flashlight. You want to make sure you have a med kit. Make sure you keep your med kits handy because that is something that you could need at any time. Even at an accident during a normal day, having a good med kit with trauma kit is important. So we decided to get started. We kind of planned out our route. We had 4 different cars going. And so when you're having 4 cars and you're traveling together, you want to stay together. You want to make sure that you travel together in case something happens and you can get to it. And so we planned out our route. We got on our GPS and we looked at the different routes that they were suggesting. and they were suggesting different routes. We were using Waze, Google Maps was saying something different, and somebody else had another app, and so there were different directions. So we had to decide what was the best way to go. I really highly suggest Waze because it gives you a lot of information out there, even where police are sitting for for a speed trap, and knowing that there's accidents ahead or there's construction, things like that. So it's really a great app. But we went ahead and got started. But one thing that I did have also was a road map, a physical road map. Having that in my go bag, I've used that before, my get home bag, and it's really important to have that as well because you can check and see. And you could have a roadblock, you could have trees down, you could have things going on. You need alternate routes. Sometimes the GPS is good, but let's just say that we have some GPS disruptions, which can happen. And so again, maps are great. So we went ahead and planned out our route and we took off. And one thing though that I made sure we had were backup communications. And so having two-way radios, front car and back car at minimum. And that way we can communicate in case someone gets separated. Making sure that the lead car knows that they don't want to get too far ahead. They're aware of where the other cars are and just knowing how to travel together. Coming to a red light and looking back, 3 miles later and saying, I don't see the people that are with us. So pulling over and waiting on them, those kind of things that are just courteous to keep everybody together. We get to the place that we're staying. We have a great evening. I mean, it was really nice. It did get kind of rainy and windy, but it wasn't that bad. Again, better to be early and wrong than late and right. Because here's the problem with being late, is if we had waited and then things really got rough, it would have been a lot more difficult to find a place to stay. Plus, we're out on the road, we're vulnerable to the elements, we're vulnerable to whatever. Also, we're vulnerable to a lot of traffic and stop and go traffic, which I've been in that before when a major hurricane was coming, and getting just stuck on the road and just moving at 5 miles an hour. And so it's really important to think about these things ahead of time. Now, if you're leaving a place that's yours, you want to make sure that you secure your valuables. You want to make sure that if you need to board up things, if you need to put away lawn furniture and stuff like that, that you're going to have to do that. One great thing for us is we were renting this place, so it wasn't as important. But when I left my home originally, I made sure that a lot of things were put away in the safe, that we had items that were discreetly put in places where people wouldn't look, let's say our computers, things like that. Backing up information, having that information if you need to get to it, whether it's on a cloud or an external hard drive, and having that information set aside. And we had someone house sitting, and watching our dogs and doing that stuff. So we had our bases covered, plus we had people down here on our property that live on the property, so they're able to watch things. But going ahead and getting those people lined up and letting them know, hey, we're traveling, just keep an eye on our place. So bug out can happen at any time. Guys, you can have a personal SHTF that doesn't affect anyone else. And so it's really good to plan, to have some things laid out, even in just basic everyday living. The key here is we prep to survive. And prepping doesn't necessarily, again, mean civil unrest, rioting, disruption with the utilities. It just means something can happen at any time. And having a few things set back and thinking things through a little bit can really save your bacon, or it can just make life a little easier. And guys, if you're serious about prepping and survival, check out Survival Dispatch Insider. It is the best resource on the web, using many of the top experts in the survival prepping world. We upload one video that's exclusive to the Insider every week. I'll have a link down below in the description. It's well worth checking out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Out of danger because there was in 2020 we've experienced a lot of abnormalities. Guys, we found ourselves in all kind of situations, sometimes very traumatic, sometimes just